Hi, this is Travis.
And this is Jonathan.
And we'd love to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
That is the podcast that will eventually play the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
In its entirety, all 35 minutes. It's coming up. I know that's why most of you are here. I can't think of why anybody else would be here, to be honest.
That's an ironclad guarantee. Well, don't be so hard on yourself,
Well,
Travis.
I'm just saying I'm here for the song. I mean, I am. I'm sure I like sitting around talking to you, but I mean, I'm here to listen to that song. I need to hear that. That song has helped me through so much, has gotten me through so much. I'm glad to be home this week. And I wanted to hear it at home. And I love listening to this song abroad. Don't get me wrong. But when you listen to this song at home, it not to make a jest or you know, a pun, but it does hit more home. Does that make sense?
Because you're at home?
Yes.
Home. No, that's okay. I understand. You're upset.
No, I'm
if
not.
You need to take a second, you can. I know when you're at home and your uncle dies and you're listening to this song, sometimes it can be sad. And I don't want to bring everybody down.
Well, it's a personal. He's.
I think
I should probably
share.
I don't mind sharing. That's not what I wanted to come on. I didn't want to bring anybody
well,
else
now
down.
I've said it, and I should just cover it up and pretend like I didn't say it.
Because you've said
now,
it,
let's
and
just
I don't.
pretend
No, I'm
like,
not. There's nothing. It's part of life,
I
Jonathan.
think what we should
People
do is just
live and they die, and you're gonna, you're living and you're gonna die. I'm living and I'm gonna die. It's just the way of the way of nature. So,
well, I'm counting on science to swoop in at the last minute and give me something that'll prolong my brain into another century or two.
Well, I think now, from what I understand, scientists can put everything of you and your essence into a computer box or an iPod, not an actual iPod, but something
like it.
Yes, and
I mean, that's what when I started paying those folks at the lab, they said, "Okay, this is what it's going to look like eventually." And I said, "That's an iPod." And they said, "Oh, I didn't think you would know what this was." And so we just kind of listened to music, and I uploaded some songs I had on my. I know you don't like to get into the technical stuff, but
no, I don't.
I had
mind.
some songs on my computer, and we put it on an iPod. And they said, "Well, imagine that these songs, Bruno Mars or whoever it was probably Bruno Mars.
He's great.
Imagine these songs are your brain and all your words and thoughts and speeches." So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. They said there's no guarantee, but I tell you what, I wish that your Uncle Gordon, I wish that maybe he had not died for another 40 or 50 years so that he could have.
Yeah.
But, rest in peace. And it's sad. Also, I think I was closer with him than you were.
No, I loved Uncle Gordon. You did spend a lot of, I would say, quality time with him. There were times in my life where I wasn't available as much. I mean, you had so much free time.
Well, I rented that room over his garage.
Well, that. And at the time you weren't working. You did. I mean, you kind of.
It was just me and Gordon all day.
Played video games, a lot of video games together. You played a lot of board games.
Oh yeah, he was good at those.
There was a lot of
wrestling and running.
You spent a lot of time, and it was great going over there to see
the creek.
A relative that I love so very much, and a good friend that I love very much. To see that kind of bond between you two guys was...
Well, we thought we were doing you a favor because if you were coming over and Gordon wasn't there, I'd say, hey, why don't you just wait till Gord's here and you get a twofer? Or if he was there and I wasn't there, I remember Gore would go, hey, Travis, you can come over here, but Jonathan's not here, and then it's sort of a wasted trip for you, probably.
Well, I mean, it's nice
but
to spend time.
But he took it personally when you wouldn't come.
Well,
I don't know if this is the time to tell you that.
Well, that again, it was not personal. There were things going on in my life at the time where I wasn't available to just get and go anytime I pleased, no matter who was there or who wasn't. But
how is Nancy?
Needless to say, Nancy's fine. She's okay.
Those are weird times.
They, some
Both of us were out of pocket.
We were at that time, and yet we were still connected through friendship
and Gordon
and my Uncle Gordon.
May he rest in peace.
Yes. If you haven't guessed already or don't understand, my Uncle Gordon sadly passed away, but he lived a long and full life. He was 76 years old.
76 trombones.
76 trombones.
At the big parade. They played that, and he said, whatever year, however old I am when I die, I want you to find a couple songs that mention my age. Like 70. If it had been 75, I don't know what it would have been.
All I could think of when he said that at the time was, the when I'm 64, but I didn't want him, that's still young. That's still young. 99 Luftballons. I wish it could have been that song.
That's a good one.
It is. Plus, he would have been...
He would have got that.
With us a little longer, yes.
Much more time.
Unless he was really bad off toward the end. I don't think anybody should have to go through that.
No, but he wouldn't have. If he loved that song or had some connection. Like if Nina, who is the artist, the German artist behind 99... Did you say Luft or Red?
Luft, Red, either way. She sang it both ways. Luftballons, Luft.
Like, I hope she makes it to 99 years old. And
she deserves to, yes.
I hope that however far medicine has progressed, that even if she's not doing that hot towards the end, that they're able to, like, give her something to maybe... dull the pain or take her mind off how she feels just to get over that hump and make it to 99.
I hope so. That would be something. So and I hope we're around to be there to enjoy that if that happens. Because I love that song. If that was getting a lot more airplay, then that would be, that's one, not that I want her to pass away so they'll play the song on the radio. They still play it plenty, but they could play it more. That's all I'm saying.
You will hear it a lot when she goes.
Yes, you will. Indeed, you will. And I look forward to hearing the song.
But not under those circumstances.
Not under the circumstances, but if it takes that to get it on the radio more often.
And I don't want to throw a lot of DJs under the bus, but that's sort of their mindset. Like, well, who died? How can I make money off of this?
Right. That's the first thing.
Where's all the dead songs? Well, why don't you, instead of saying, I can't wait for Nina to die so I can play 99 Luftballons or Red Balloons, why don't you say, today we're going to celebrate Nina's life. She's still alive and she's still with us. And, and I want her to hear.
Exactly. Well, are you out there? Why? I still love this song.
But no, they're going to wait. They're just going to wait and just like vulture a corpse. Ugh.
Well... We do talk on microphones, but we are podcasters. Do not call us a DJ. I don't want to be thrown into that group of people. I don't want anybody to... It's similar, but it's completely different. I don't want to be...
Anywhere near...
Yes. Not a DJ. Not for me. No, I'm not a vulture like that.
I guess we should probably start wrapping it up. I know you're very busy with all the... I'm just telling all your secrets today.
There's no secrets that I know of. I mean...
It's just I'm sure you're very busy with your present.
I am. Well, it's not so much a present as he willed, it's something left to me. That's not... I don't think it's considered presents when you die. You get presents or, other people. It's willed. And I'm very grateful. But I don't know what I'm going to do. First, let me say, Uncle Gordon, God rest his soul. Thank you so much, and I know you were thinking of me because we all know how much he loved his, it's a Berrington Prancing Donkey, and it has papers. It's a legitimate,
from a long line of Berrington Prancing Donkeys.
And I don't know a whole lot about that because they showed me the paperwork when I was willed the animal, and
that must have been exciting.
Well, it was, and it was a little bit scary too. And I'm still having issues right now. It's in a shed. A friend of mine and it's a smaller animal, so it's not as bad as that sounds.
Yeah, that sounds bad when you say it.
But he has room. We took the tools out of the shed, and he has room to. I mean, during the day we walk him outside. Of course, we don't leave him in there all day. But at nighttime, when he wants to sleep, or sometimes he wants to be alone. And that's what the shed is for.
Where did Rick put his tools?
I don't know if he had room in the garage. If he put them in the garage, he had to move a lot of stuff out of it in order to get those in. And I don't know what he moved there to get the tools in there.
It's so funny because right now I've got plenty of space. Like, if somebody gave me a Berrington Prancing Donkey when they died, I would have plenty of room for it. It's just funny the way things work out. Like, I don't have a Prancing Donkey, but I've got plenty of room for it. And you have to go over to Rick's and make him move all the shit around.
I'm compensating him. It's not like he's doing it as a favor. I'm having to. There is a fee. Granted, it's not extravagant because it's a shed. It's much cheaper than the stables, which I looked into, and I cannot afford that right now. I can't. That's something.
It's just funny, is all, I guess, is what I'm saying.
That's one way of looking at it, I suppose. But I love Pretty Tail, the sweetest animal. And again, a Berrington Prancing Donkey, a very rare breed, a pure blood. Is that what they? It said that on the paperwork. And again, I don't know a lot.
Pure blood Berrington Prancing Donkey. That's what
it. Yeah, that's the official title.
He said, I don't know how many times, because when I was living over the garage, when he and I were, I guess, best friends, it was something he talked about all the time. And I was fortunate enough to be there when he said, I'm going to make my dream of getting a pure blood Berrington Prancing Donkey.
Oh, wow.
A reality, and I was there when he brought Pretty Tail home. And Pretty Tail, for a while, I thought of me also as like a second.
I'm sure.
A second Gordon.
I always liked, I fed Pretty Tail an apple, as most everyone that went over to Uncle Gordon's did at some time or another.
Or on Halloween, all the children
certainly would come back and give their apples to Pretty. They'd line up. I loved Pretty Tail, but I'll be honest, I don't think I had the bond with him. Of course, I didn't live there. You know, you lived above, and I know Uncle Gordon trusted you to take, because he would not let just any, I know Halloween was a special occasion when he let the kids in, but he wouldn't let just anybody give Pretty Tail an apple or a carrot or a sugar cube or what else did he eat? Bread? Did he eat bread? Mm-hmm. For some reason, I remember him eating bread.
Well, that started, somebody came by with a sandwich, and he just took it right out of their hands.
That's right.
And then it became a sort of a joke, and people would just bring a sandwich. But then they didn't want to waste the meat, so they just, the bread.
That's what he liked, I think, was the bread. Because, I mean, he enjoyed, I remember him enjoying the bread as much as he did ever eating a sandwich, as far as I could tell.
Well, I guess we should play the...
yes. Let's play the song here. Again, I don't mean to spend so much time on a donkey. This is about cats.
Well, it's a Berrington
certainly.
Donkey.
I'm sorry.
A pure blood.
You've corrected me. I love Pretty Tail, and we're going to work something out, Pretty Tail and I. It's all going to... Right now is okay, but it needs to be better, and we're going to figure out how to do this. And I have plenty of paperwork to read up on, and I have a lot of books I have to read about this particular breed of donkey. A
lot of expensive inoculations.
See, that I'm not completely aware of all that, but that's something I'm going to learn. If anybody has any advice, I should just throw that out there. If anyone, any of our listeners have had an experience with a pureblood Berrington Prancing Donkey, please... let me know, because I could use the information. Like I said, we know a lot about cats, Jonathan and I. If you listen to this song, you're going to learn a lot about cats. And I like to reaffirm my knowledge, and that's the reason I enjoy listening to it over and over again.
But I don't know, like if you came to me with, well, what do you do with a Berrington Prancing Donkey? Well, I'd know more probably than Travis, just because I lived nearby. I mean, that was towards the end, so I wasn't there forever, but a couple of years. And I did my fair share of inoculating and feeding and sorting out the different breeds.
You and I don't. Why am I asking listeners? You and I, after the song, of course, and after the podcast,
I don't want to overstate.
No, you're not overstating anything. I would appreciate any advice that you have to give.
You've got it all under control.
Well,
with your donkey,
I really don't yet. It's such a sudden.
I wouldn't want to impose
life change experience that happens very, very quickly.
You can ride those.
I don't know. Pretty Tail doesn't seem to be the right size for someone like you and I to ride.
Well, that's where they fool you. I mean, that's why they're prancing donkeys, because you think, oh, I can't get on this, and then you do, And you're like, they are strong and sturdy. And to prove it to you, they sort of fool you. It's a trick. They sort of shrink down and make themselves look smaller. And then when you figure out the trick and you throw a leg over them, and then they sort of, their shoulders spread out and they get that prideful chest full of air. They take those deep breaths.
Unaware
of this. They prance around just to show you how, I've got this big man on me, but I can prance and I can step high and I can be the prancing donkey.
Wow. Granted, there is a lot of paperwork that I glanced over. I did not read that. But again, there's so much of it. I'm sure I didn't. I need to study it.
They raise their head high, and that's when you know the prancing is about to begin.
Well, Pretty Tale, I'm happy to welcome you into my life. It was unexpected, but you and I will figure it out. I'm not going to get too concerned. It's why dwell upon things like that? Why not just be positive, and we'll see what the future holds in store for Pretty Tale myself, and hopefully it's all good. But enough of that. Let's get to the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat. If you're ready. Jonathan, are you ready? You want to play it?
Yes.
All right.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 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 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 loving ways, 100 ways to love, to love, to love. Okay. 100 ways to love a cat.
There it is.
It's so great that you got to hear that before you had to rush out, Travis, and take care of your Berrington Prancing Donkey. It's great that you can still make the time for it with all your new added responsibilities.
Well, again, this is going to be a learning curve for me, but hopefully I'm going to figure it out. Again, there's no reason for me to stress and concern myself. I don't know what this experience is going to be. So far, it's been very difficult, I'll be honest, but it doesn't necessarily going to stay this way, I don't think. Things can change.
Things do change. They change all the time. Like last week, your Uncle Gordon was alive, and
well,
and we were corresponding via letters.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. R.I.P. Uncle Gordon.
And thank you, Uncle Gordon. We will make do. The sentiment is not lost. I always loved Pretty Tale, and now I can say that I have the paperwork to prove it, that I own a pure blood Berrington Prancing Donkey. I believe that's quite rare, so I'm one of the few people. I mean, that's quite something. That's quite an achievement. That something that I never thought that I would accomplish or thought about ever wanting to, never thought about obtaining one.
Somebody giving it to
I would not, to be honest with you, I would not have known what a Berrington Prancing Donkey was had I not, met Pretty Tale through Uncle Gordon. But it is quite an achievement, and it could not have happened without you, Uncle Gordon. Rest in peace. Thanks for listening, everyone. Hopefully you'll be back next week to listen to 100
We're going to do it all over again.
Absolutely. We're here to do it every week, all over again. That's what we're going to do. All 100 ways. They're always done on the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.